Hello, good day, and welcome to Lena Media TV News. I am Victoria, broadcasting from Canada, and these are the headlines for today's stories. High Court decide to resume Aliyah of Ethiopian Jews. Kenyatta calls on Ethiopia to end war and embrace dialogue. Sudan group says 187 wounded in latest anti-coup protests. Russia threatens country aim in Ukraine. Bringing you these in detail after the short break. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back from that short break. Now, news in detail. Israel High Court of Justice decided on Tuesday to remove an interim order which had halted the immigration of Ethiopian Jews to Israel since February. Last November, the cabinet unanimously approved paving the way for renewing immigration from Ethiopia among the community of descendants of Jews against the background of severe civil war in the country. The resolution passed on November would allow 3,000 Ethiopians to immigrate, with the possibility to expand the number with further resolutions. In February, the High Court issued an interim order freezing the aliyah of Ethiopian Jews after a petition was filed by the Israeli Immigration Policy Center against the government's decision. The Israeli Immigration Policy Center expressed opposition to the decision in December when it filed the petition to the High Court, saying it would bring non-Jewish Ethiopians to Israel. Aliyah and Integration Minister Kenyatta thanked the High Court for dropping the freeze order for petition, saying petition could have cost human life. Moving on to the next story, Kenyatta calls on Ethiopia to end war and embrace dialogue. Kenyatta President Uhuru Kenyatta on Wednesday called on Ethiopia protagonists to embrace genuine reconciliation and end the war that has been fought for more than a year. The Kenyan leader, speaking publicly for the third time in 3 months on Ethiopia conflict, says civilians in Ethiopia have been deprived of dignity as protagonists continue to fight. Ethiopia National Defense Forces and allied military have since November 2022 been fighting Tigray People Liberation Front. The conflict began when the Tigray People Liberation Front, once a ruling party but now a proscribed group, was accused of ambushing a northern camp of national military. Moving on to the next story, Sudan group says 187 wounded in latest anti-coup protests. Doctors Union says that nearly 200 people have been wounded in the latest protests to erupt in Sudanese capital over deteriorating economic conditions following a military takeover. Nearly 200 people have been wounded in the latest protests to erupt the Sudanese capital over deteriorating economic conditions following a military takeover. The Sudan Doctors Committee issued a statement saying that 187 people were wounded in clashes with police in Khartoum on Thursday. 70 of them were likely struck by rubber bullets. Rout police used tear gas to disperse thousands of protesters who had sought to reach the Republican Palace, seat of the military government. Video posters on social media shows police fearing tear gas. Thursday marches were the latest in near Delhi street protests since the military took over on October 25th, removing a civilian land transitional government. Since then, at least 87 people have been killed and 1,000 wounded in a bloody crackdown on protesters, according to the Doctors Union. Moving on to the last story, Russia threatens country aim in Ukraine. Russia forces are continuing the attempted push through Ukraine from multiple directions, while Ukraine is led by President stiff resistance, according to the U.S. official. The attack began February 24th when Russia President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operations. Russia forces moving from neighboring Belarus towards Ukraine have advanced closer to the city center in recent days. Despite the resistance, heavy shelling and missile attacks, many on civilian buildings continue in Kyiv as well as major cities like Kharkiv and Mariupol. Russia has bombed western cities for the first time this week, targeting live and military bases near the Poland border. Russia has been met by sanctions from the United States, Canada, and countries throughout Europe, targeting the Russia economy as well as Putin himself. This is where I end the news on Elena Media TV. I am Victoria and thanks for watching.